Failure, by definition, is a lack of success. But failure is not that simple. The definition of failure can change depending on the person experiencing it. So how do we know that what we experience is actually failure by definition? Is it really that cutthroat? Let me ask you this. How many of you have experienced a toxic friendship? Please raise your hands. Okay, quite a few of you. So I have. Back when I was in 5th grade, I experienced your average mean girl clique, who in my eyes were like vicious monsters. The leader, you could say, was the first to befriend me, as I got to know her before school started. Maybe that's why I felt relief, as I was very introverted and had trouble making friends myself for the first time. When I first got to school, she introduced me to her group of friends, and at first, things were great. They included me in everything they did and acted like good friends. Then, almost suddenly, things changed. They started excluding me from conversations, making up excuses like, we need to talk about something private. There were many times I had to walk alone at lunch, and teachers would ask me if I was okay, which made me feel even worse about myself. And me, incredibly naive and timid, could not do anything to stand up for myself and confront their behavior. The fear of being completely alone stopped me from standing up for myself. So what do I consider a failure? Personally, I believe that a failure is only a failure when you consider it as one. And it might be different for all of you. That is not the main thing I want you all to gather from this speech, however. The main thing I want you to know is that experiencing failure is not a setback, rather it is a progression. Making mistakes does not feel good, and makes most of us feel even worse about ourselves. It makes us lose confidence in our abilities and self-worth. And this is a normal feeling. I mean, come on, who likes being wrong? And right now, it might seem impossible to progress after these setbacks, but I'm going to tell you a little secret on how to do so. Change your mindset. Changing your mindset is what is going to allow you to face these challenges and improve, like I did after experiencing my personal failure. What is this mindset exactly? Often referred to as a growth mindset, it is a mindset that allows you to face challenges and drawbacks head-on. It is when you do not get discouraged by these setbacks and instead gain a drive to keep trying until you succeed. You do not make yourself miserable with self-deprecation, but instead you motivate yourself with self-assurance. Sounds pretty straightforward, right? But it is not easy to achieve this mindset all the time. Why is that so? Why is it so hard to progress after experiencing a setback, no matter how big or small? Because we're humans. We are not automated robots who are programmed to overcome these obstacles and complete tasks effortlessly. We feel things. We cannot so easily get back up after falling down. There will be times where we feel absolutely horrified with ourselves. There will be times we cannot even look ourselves in the eye in fear of the overthinking and self-doubt we experience. And I'm not trying to scare you all with this. It might seem impossible to progress after these setbacks, but I'm going to tell you a little secret on how to do so. You can do this by learning from your mistakes, overcoming those barriers, and achieving this difficult growth mindset. How exactly? By making mistakes. Now, by making mistakes, I do not mean repeating the same mistakes over and over again, because that is not exactly helping. What I mean is that we try something, we fail at it, we look over our mistakes, we learn from them, and we try again. We look over what we have done wrong and think of ways to do it right. Like how I personally know how to deal with such toxic friends. As much as I'd like to hurl insults at them and give them a taste of their own medicine, I have to be mature about it. So I leave them. I do not continue to take unfair treatment just because of my fear of being alone. And I've learned this only because I experienced that failure and because I made those mistakes. I did not let this failure dictate how my social life would continue to go. Instead, I used it as a drive for me to improve my social skills and grow as a person. That is the kind of mindset that can change our setbacks into success. Now I've given you a bunch of information, but it is up to you to decide what to do with it. Ask yourselves this: do you want to stay stuck in the same spot your entire life, filled with self-deprecation? Or do you want to change and grow into the best version of yourself? It is entirely up to you. And if you do want to change, stop treating your failures as a permanent defeat and get over them. Failure is only failure when you consider it as one. Remember that failure is not the end of the world. Rather, it is a drive, a reason for you to keep going and keep learning in order to reach your full potential. Thank you.